Every morning before a shift begins, a police officer puts on a vest. It takes about 30 seconds. It goes under the shirt, close to the skin. Nobody on the street will see it. The vest is thin. It is light. It flexes when they move. There is nothing about it that suggests it could absorb the kinetic energy of a bullet traveling at several hundred meters per second. And yet it does. And the reason comes down to something that happens at a scale the eye cannot see. The way certain molecules arrange themselves when a specific liquid is forced through a tiny hole. That arrangement was discovered by accident by a chemist who was not looking for body armor. She was looking for better car tires. How does a thin, flexible fabric stop a bullet? And how did the material inside it come to exist? Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. A fiber unlike any other. Every material gets its properties from how its atoms are arranged. Steel is strong because its atoms share electrons in a tight lattice. Wood is light because it is mostly air between cellulose tubes. Kevlar is strong for a reason completely different from either. Kevlar is an aramid fiber, a type of synthetic polymer made of long molecular chains. What separates aramid from ordinary plastics is what those chains do when the fiber is formed. Instead of tangling randomly like threads in a drawer, the molecular chains in aramid line up parallel to each other in neat, ordered rows. That alignment is structural, not decorative. It is what makes the fiber capable of doing something that nothing else its weight can match. Born from a batch that looked wrong. It did not begin with a goal to protect anyone. It began with a goal to make better car tires. In the early 1960s, the chemical company DuPont was searching for a synthetic fiber stronger and lighter than the nylon it had invented decades earlier. One of the chemists working on the problem was Stephanie Kwolek, a young researcher who had originally intended to study medicine and had taken the DuPont job as a temporary step before medical school. She never left. The problem of creating new synthetic materials turned out to be interesting enough to keep her there for over 40 years. In 1965, Kwolek was experimenting with a class of molecules called polyamides, trying different combinations of chemical structures and solvents in search of something with superior properties. One day she produced a solution that looked completely wrong. The liquid she expected should have been thick and clear. What she got was thin and cloudy, the color and consistency of watered-down milk. By every convention of laboratory practice, that kind of result was a failure. Solutions that looked like that were usually discarded, but Kwolek was not ready to discard it. She brought the cloudy solution to the technician who operated the fiber-spinning machine, a device that forces liquid polymer through tiny holes to produce solid filaments. The technician was reluctant. He was concerned the unusual liquid might damage the equipment. Kwolek persuaded him to try it anyway. What came out of the machine was unlike anything either of them had seen. The fibers were rigid, not soft. They did not stretch and snap the way nylon did under high loads. They were, when tested for tensile strength, roughly 5 times stronger than steel of the same weight. The molecular chains in Kwolek's cloudy solution had, under the conditions of the spinning process, lined themselves up into the ordered structure that nobody had managed to produce deliberately. DuPont patented the material in 1966 and began developing it for commercial use. The applications were obvious to anyone who looked at the numbers. A fiber 5 times stronger than steel, flexible enough to weave into fabric, light enough to wear without discomfort. Kwolek never received financial gain beyond her salary since the patent belonged to the company. But she lived to see the material she stumbled upon save thousands of lives. She called that a fair exchange. Why softness can become strength. So how does a woven fabric stop a bullet? The answer starts at the molecular level and scales up through the weave. Each Kevlar fiber is made of long polymer chains arranged in neat parallel rows. Between those rows run hydrogen bonds, connections between adjacent molecules. Each individual hydrogen bond is relatively weak, but a single fiber contains billions of them, and their combined effect is substantial. When a force acts on the fiber, it has to break through all of those bonds before the fiber fails. More bonds mean more energy required to cause failure, and Kevlar has an extraordinary density of them. The real protection comes from how the fibers are woven. A bullet strikes a single point. An unwoven fiber at that point might fail under concentrated impact, but in a woven mesh, every fiber is physically connected to every adjacent fiber. When a bullet hits the fabric, the impact energy does not stay at the point of contact. It propagates outward through the weave, spreading across hundreds or thousands of individual fibers simultaneously, each one absorbing a small fraction of the total energy. This is why multiple layers matter. A single layer resists penetration but may not stop a bullet entirely. Multiple layers, stacked so that the weave directions are offset against each other, multiply the energy spreading effect. By the time the bullet has worked through all of those layers, it has lost most of its kinetic energy. A round that began at several hundred meters per second arrives at the final layer, moving slowly enough to be stopped by the remaining material. What feels soft to the hand is, in physical terms, an efficient system for distributing destructive energy across the largest possible area. The softness is not a weakness, it is the mechanism. Steel stops a bullet by being harder than it. Kevlar stops a bullet by being larger than it, spreading the impact across a surface the bullet cannot concentrate its force on. The two approaches to stopping the same threat are opposites, and both work. What it cannot stop. The most counterintuitive fact about Kevlar is one most people have never considered. A fabric that reliably stops bullets does not reliably stop knives. That seems backwards. A bullet is far more dangerous than a knife, but the way each threat interacts with the fabric is completely different. A bullet is blunt and fast. When it hits the woven mesh, it cannot easily find a path through. The fibers resist, distribute the energy, and slow the projectile. The mechanism works because the threat is too broad to slip between the fibers. A knife or an ice pick is narrow and pointed. It does not need to break any fibers. It only needs to find the gap between adjacent threads in the weave and push through. Standard bullet-resistant fabric has gaps that a sharp point can exploit. The energy distribution mechanism that defeats a blunt bullet does not apply to a narrow, penetrating threat that slides rather than strikes. There are also limits within the bullet category. Rounds from high-powered rifles carry enough energy to defeat standard fabric, requiring additional hard plates made of ceramic or composite materials behind the Kevlar layers. And even when a bullet is stopped, the wearer still absorbs the blunt force, which can bruise or crack ribs. Finally, Kevlar degrades under extended ultraviolet exposure. An old vest that has spent years in sunlight is not providing the same protection as a new one. The material has a lifespan. That lifespan matters to anyone depending on it. Strength in unexpected places. Today, you will find aramid fiber doing quiet work in places where protection is not the primary goal, and where the material's presence would surprise most people. Motorcycle protective gear is one of the most visible examples. Riders who crash at speed face road rash, the traumatic abrasion of skin against tarmac. Ordinary fabric shreds instantly. Aramid fiber woven into riding trousers and jackets resists that abrasion long enough to protect the skin underneath, not because it stops a bullet, but because the same aligned molecular structure that resists penetration also resists friction. The material is flexible enough that the rider moves freely on the bike, and strong enough that a fall does not require skin grafts. Millions of people wear Aramid every day without knowing the name of the material they are in. Loudspeaker diaphragms are a less expected application. The cone inside a speaker has to move air rapidly and precisely, responding to electrical signals that change thousands of times per second. It has to accelerate fast and stop cleanly without flexing unevenly and distorting the sound. Aramid fiber, because of its stiffness-to-weight ratio and damping properties, moves cleanly and stops crisply. A speaker driver with an Aramid cone produces tighter, more accurate sound than one made from heavier materials. The same molecular alignment that helps stop a bullet also helps produce cleaner bass in a device that has no connection to armor or protection whatsoever. Thin, light, and stronger than steel. So how is Kevlar made, and how can soft fabric stop a bullet? Through a liquid polymer solution spun into fibers whose molecular chains align in orderly rows, bonded to each other by billions of hydrogen bonds, woven into layers that spread impact energy across the widest possible area rather than concentrating it at the point of contact. Think about that police officer again, putting on the vest in the morning. 30 seconds, thin, light, flexible under the shirt. Kevlar shows that strength does not always look hard, heavy, or metallic. Sometimes, the material that saves a life can be a thin, flexible fabric born from an experiment that almost looked like a failure. The cloudy solution Stephanie Kwolek almost discarded became the thing between a bullet and the person wearing the vest. If this changed the way you think about what is inside a vest or a helmet or a pair of riding gloves, let us know in the comments what you want us to explore next. We might make it our next episode. Thanks for watching. History often hides in the smallest details.